but they don't realize that in the process, they're not being thoughtful, that they're diluting their individuality rather than taking pieces for inspiration and actually making it their own. So they get lost subconsciously by seeing people win. I love a quote that Jeremy said years back when he said, hip hop doesn't need more winners, it needs more leaders.
And then when you shared this info for the first time with everybody and a lot of people caught on to it, what had you noticed? Like, did you notice that there was more endurance and more longevity and people were thinking about it differently, or was there a bad response to it?
Yeah. So to be very honest, in the very beginning, and I want to shout out Flowmaster because, you know, one of the persons that was really heavy involved early on, which I learned a lot from him, was Bboy Flowmaster. I mean, he's always been just a fitness enthusiast and just about elevating people's lives and careers through fitness. That really inspired me too, you know? And so I just want to shout him out too, because I don't want people to think that like I was the only one doing it. I think I had a huge influence of how people are training today, but Flowmaster was one of my biggest influences to this. And then I know other people like Focus and Hot Solo from Flomo were also doing this early on. So shout out to them. But in terms of like early on reception that I received from the community was, you know, I had a lot of good, but there was some bad. You know, a lot of people, even when I started to compete again heavy in the, you know, kind of mid 2010s or so, when I started to compete again, I remember battling across from people and they're doing jumping jacks on the side, like making fun of me or doing push-ups. And so I didn't let that bother me, but I remember those things because again, that's fuel to my fire. I'm like, okay, cool. You're 19 struggling with someone that's 30 years old. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, you should listen to me. You should take notes from me rather than make fun of me. So there were some people that were making fun of, you know, kind of this new era of training. And then there were some people that were really catching on and they wanted to learn more, which I truly just adored, because part of everything that we should do is just about elevating people. It should never be just about elevating ourselves. We use ourselves as strategic vehicles, but we bring it into ourselves to be able to elevate other people. And so that's why I was never selfish with the things that I was creating, because I wanted more people to adopt the things that I was getting into because I was excited about it. And when I'm excited about it, I want other people to join me on the journey, because the more people that are on the journey, the faster we get to the destination. You know, and so, yeah, early on, there was some kind of backlash, but I love that today people have really adopted this mentality, especially now with the Olympic reinforcement, knowing that, hey, now if I want to compete at a high level, I got to be able to take this on and go full steam ahead. Now, on the downside of that, people are losing the balance that, like, hey, you might be fully immersed in this area, but you're also losing and diluting the actual essence of what breaking is.
What do you think has encouraged that? Do you think it's the people that they're learning from? Is it the fact that people are saying this culture is an art? Why are we training like athletes? We're dancers. Like, why do you think
I think
that is?
For me, what I believe people are experiencing is the idea of a certain quote unquote formula that you need to win in a competition. But the formula for me, there's not an actual formula. The formula to me is whatever you want that formula to be that works for you. That's the formula. I'm not saying do what I'm doing, just take pieces of what I'm doing and make it your own. And then within breaking, people are subconsciously picking up how people are breaking, how people are winning competitions, and then they're adopting these subconscious formulas because they visually see something. And then in turn, when it comes down to hit the floor, they're starting to mimic a lot of these movements. And these things are just kind of creating opportunity with themselves, but they don't realize that in the process, they're not being thoughtful, that they're diluting their individuality rather than taking pieces for inspiration and actually making it their own. So they get lost subconsciously by seeing people win. I loved a quote that Jeremy said years back when he said, hip hop doesn't need more winners, it needs more leaders in breaking, you know? And so that's a beautiful statement and a beautiful quote, because we get so caught up in following the winner, right? Than actually following someone that's actually bringing wisdom, insight, knowledge, experience, right? Because anybody could be a winner in breaking. That's the beautiful part about breaking, is that it's hard to find the same winner for 20 years. You might find the same winner for 2 or 3 years. You know, we've seen that happen before, but it's hard to continuously find the same winner for over 20 years. And what I've always tried to showcase is just like, take a little bit of me, take a little bit of flow, take a little bit of, you know, whoever else that you want to see, and make it your own and create something special from it. But don't dilute yourself in the process. Don't lose your individuality. So I just think overall, subconsciously, people get caught up in what's doing good and what's winning, and they pick up on it, and it starts to kind of enter their life cycle, and then they spit it right back out without knowing that it's an actual mimic of what someone else is doing, rather than taking what they're doing and then making it your own and modifying it to where even the person that created something can see and be like, damn, did you see what they did? They just flipped what I did and made it better. And then now the cycle continues. Now you re-inspire the innovator to go ahead and reinvent again. And this is one of the reasons why I also like to surround myself with youth, because youth have such a playful mindset in terms of like how they create and how quick they come up with things, especially with just having so many just open resources to things, right? Whether it's YouTube, social media, more books or whatever, kids are becoming more knowledgeable in things. And so I use that as inspiration. And I try to become a sponge around some of the youth that allows to inspire me to ignite my flame to keep going. But subconsciously, I also think that we just need to be a little bit more alert and aware that you got to be careful with what you're also engulfing, right? You don't want to take in someone else's style or someone else's full approach on how they should look on the floor, and then you start to look like this on the floor. And so I've been seeing this a lot in competition, and so it hurts a little bit, right? Because you want breaking scales, you want everybody to scale with it, but you don't want everybody to look similar in the process. You want everybody to be individuals. And for me, I started to get to a point where I started to see more of like, man, this is becoming more like of an athlete's world than an artist's world. But you got to find a way where they both meet together, and then you create something special from that. And then you inspire somebody else to keep doing and keep that cycle going, right? And so, that's why I kind of, got inspired to kind of make that video, because look at me, I got a weight vest on right now. Like I'm back on my training, and I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really strong. But I do this because I like challenging myself. I like to experience change in myself. And so I'm a huge fitness enthusiast. And because of what I said doesn't mean like it's fitness over, originality first. Man, no one could be a better Moy, and I could never be a better Shaz. People can try, but they will never be. But you can always be a better version of yourself. And that's what I like to promote.
Yeah, there was something that I had observed over the last while, and I think it is because of events like the Silverback Open, where it's so competitive. You cannot mess up. You have to be like on point from morning until the evening, because events like that would run from the morning until the evening. Yeah. And the more the demands were set that you had to battle from such early on just to make it to like the top 32 and whatnot, even with like the Red Bull BC1, the rounds are always going up and up and up.
Right.
That it seems like people are prioritizing like their artistic needs over what will help them win and help them get exposure. It's not such like a black and white thing like that, but you see it with some people where like that's where the focus is, and they still need to translate it onto the main stages.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, man, like there's so much change that's happening within breaking. The more adaptive you become as just a human being, the better you're off to be able to receive all these changes, right? We don't go up and enter a competition by request. We go up because we want to do it. Even when you get an invite by request, it's still up to you whether you want to do it or not. You don't have to accept everything. But when you do accept it, it's because you're there. And then when you're there, you don't tell the DJ what song to play. You got to adopt and adapt right there. And if people start to lose this adaptive, just mindset and all of the above, you will die. Like you, when I mean about that is, I mean your soul, the way you approach things. You will start to look at everything from a very much negative lens. Everything will be a negative circle in your life. It will just go like this. It will just go like this because you just think that you can't do it no more. You know, there's a saying is like, right, or people use it differently, right? But if we use it in terms of dancing, is like we don't stop dancing because we got old. We got old because we stopped dancing. And people use that same quote in a lot of different ways, but it's true, right? It's, if you keep dancing and you find the joy in it, you'll always remain young. Forget the exterior, it's the interior. It's the interior that allows us to continue to go and to really believe and fully immerse ourselves in that confidence and that belief to be able to get something done. And maybe that's what it's just been for me, you know? And I try to push that mantra to everybody is that your exterior is meaningless, but your interior is what's going to keep, you know, your engine going. And regardless of, a lot of people don't know this, but because they kind of, I've always said this quote too, but they see the glory, but they don't know the story, right? And I don't know who exactly quoted that, but I've heard that over my life for so many years. And through my course of breaking, whether it was through life happenings or breaking happenings or just personal mental health, like, you know, I've personally went through a lot of damage, you know, but I've protected my interior as much as I can. The interior of my brain, the interior of my heart, the interior of my lungs, my bones, my blood. I've done everything that I possibly can to protect that interior. So regardless of how tired I looked out here, my spirit was never tired. My heart was never tired. And so I like to push this mantra onto people because regardless of how things get and whether they're good or bad, because it will never be a straight line, you will experience bad and you will experience good. Protect your interior. And however it is that you see your interior, you will find a way to maintain that. And if you want that to uphold for a very long time, you'll do whatever it takes by any means necessary. And as I just like to position myself in those areas where I just want to keep getting stronger. Even if I may look weaker and tired, I'm tired right now, bro. You know what I mean? Like, even if I look weaker and tired from the outside, I want you to know that people are struggling to keep up with my insides because my insides are so powerful. Yeah.
Wow. Well, there's only one other thing that I have to ask you. I had so much more, but you already covered it. When are we going to see you in another one-on-one again? I know that you've still got it. I know that you've still got the energy, the originality. You've already got the experience as well. And I know that there is still a lot of life left in you in terms of any competition. So when do you think we'll see you back in another one-on-one?
I'll definitely put it out there, like publicly, like I want it. I want it, but right now my priority has been, you know, my family, my business Break Free, a lot of the movement I got going around that with that, the Monster program, and then other breakers. Like there's a lot of opportunities that I'm building for breakers that right now my priority has been really shifted to help and support and bring more reinforcement and bring my expertise and knowledge, and whether it's securing more sponsorship dollars or whatever to help the breaking community. Like I've been put a lot of efforts into that. And so when I feel like things are going to get a little bit more stable in that area, and I feel like I can step away from that a little bit, I definitely want to be involved. But I'll say it firsthand. Look, over the past month, I've been back on my diet. I've been training every single day. I'm feeling strong. I'm dropping weight. I'm feeling stronger than ever again. So I say within the next 2 months, I'll very, very much be ready for anything and anybody. Like that's just how confident I believe. Again, coming from my interior, exterior might not show it, but it's there. And am I saying this to call anybody out? Absolutely not. I'm way past that mark of things, but I love being in a position to challenge myself, and I'm working towards that. So I hope that I can answer your question by being present in a one-on-one or even a two-on-two or something very, very soon, just because it's been a minute since I just battled completely anyway, whether it's a crew battle or anything. So just to be back present in the battlefield is going to be big for me because like I stated early in our interview is I love battling. And I think that every breaker should love battling, and everyone should be nervous about it because nervous creates beauty. And I just love that we can be in a state of uncomfortability until you find comfort in what you're doing. And so, yeah, soon, man, hopefully soon.
That's incredible. Well, I'll be watching when that happens. Moy, this has been incredible. Thank you so much again for your time. And I really hope to see you soon, brother.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. Shout out to Statins Elements. Let's get it. Peace.